All right. The end is near. Canelo Alvarez is not the face of boxing. It's obviously KSI and Paul Logan, because Eddie Hearn reports that their numbers were better on Dazn than Canelo's, better on Dazn than every fight that took place on Dazn, and their pay-per-views did better than any pay-per-view that took place in the UK last year, which includes Dillian Whyte and Vasily Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell. Pretty amazing, but not really if you think about it. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, special thank you to the Patreon community and to the live stream community for your support and your encouragement. It's much appreciated. Make sure to show up Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time for OG Boxing Talk with myself, Blood Boxing, KQKC Boxing, Curtis Sanderson, and Trap House Boxing. All right, let's get to this. You know, we like to talk about these numbers on this channel, and we're going to talk about some. We don't have the exact numbers. We just have the word of Eddie the Germ Hearn. And what he said about this KSI Paul Logan fight is that it did better. It had more live views than anything televised on DAZN this year, which, my friends, includes Canelo Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev, and it also includes, I do believe, Canelo Alvarez versus Daniel Jacobs. Yeah, it also includes Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. It includes a Gennady Golovkin fight. It includes a Lomachenko versus Campbell fight. It outperformed on Canelo on all of the cards on DAZN. It outperformed Regis Prograis, Josh Taylor. It outperformed Monster Inoue versus Nonito Donaire. It was bigger than everything that took place on DAZN this year. So that must mean, and Sky pay-per-view too. And that includes Dillian Whyte versus Oscar Rivas debacle and Lomachenko versus Campbell, those being the pay-per-views that I know. Also, I also happen to believe, it would also be Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz's pay-per-view that was on Sky. That was pay-per-view over there too. All of it outdone by KSI. Now, caveat on these numbers, just an asterisk, that the KSI, my understanding is the KSI versus Paul Logan fight was half the price as the other pay-per-views in the UK. So, I doubt very much that some of my naysayers are going to actually listen to the video long enough. They'll read the title and get ticked off and make that point in the comment section and never actually hear that I acknowledged it in the video. But for anybody that might be in the comment sections, you hear that I acknowledge that. Now, what does this mean to Fanon? Does it mean that KSI and Paul Logan are the face of boxing? Are they? Shouldn't they be? If they do better numbers than Canelo, shouldn't they be the face of boxing? Shouldn't they? If they do better numbers, better live viewers on DAZN, doesn't that mean that they should be the face of boxing? Because more people look at their faces. Isn't that what that means? That's the argument that people make for Canelo being the face of boxing, right? Or Lomachenko or Anthony Joshua being the face of boxing. No, I do not believe that makes KSI and Paul Logan together individually or together or collectively the faces of boxing. I believe that DAZN is not a major network. That's what I believe. I believe that DAZN is like a little closet that hardcore boxing fans walk into to see some decent fights every now and again. Because while I say that they did better live view numbers on DAZN, I'm not saying that they did better live view numbers than anybody, because clearly they did not. Because just in one boxing event, and it wasn't the actual fight, Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz's premiere of, I believe it's called Fight Camp, averaged 2.2 million people in the middle of the week watching it. And that, my friend, is a boxing related event, according to Fanon's definition. So 2.2, but why is that? Why would 2.2 million people watch Deontay Wilder and not watch Canelo Alvarez? Because Canelo Alvarez is off in a bubble where they are paying fighters to do what the network wants them to do, and the fighters aren't actually being rewarded for giving fans what they want to see. Now, KSI and Paul Logan, I have to suspect that they gave YouTube fans what they wanted to see. Apparently, you have two guys with YouTube pages of over 20 million viewers each. Their fans wanted to see them fight. The fans saw them do an amateur fight once. They liked it. Their fans wanted to see it again. So those two guys gave the fans what they wanted to see twice, and their numbers were okay. And their numbers were good on DAZN. That's what's missing from DAZN when you're talking about Canelo Alvarez. When you're talking about Lomachenko, not with Lomachenko's ESPN, but when Lomachenko came over there against Luke Campbell, look, man, it would have done the same thing over there on ESPN. It's just not fight. These are not fights that fight fans are really asking for or wanting to be made. But as far as all that face of boxing thing, you cannot be the face of boxing when you're hidden. And Canelo Alvarez in particular. Now, of all the people, I did a section when I take notes for these videos. I was thinking, like, should I put a note in that these guys are also media creations by and large? I believe Anthony Joshua definitely, as far as it affects the United States, was a media creation. There's a lot of marketing around him that got his name big. Same thing for Vasily Lomachenko, same thing for Gennady Golovkin. I don't think that about Canelo Alvarez. I don't think Canelo Alvarez his popularity was a result of him just being a media, somebody finding Canelo Alvarez and initially and just deciding that they were going to make a star out of this guy, and they don't care what they got to do or what they have to say in order to get him there. At this point, they're doing that to maintain that, doing whatever they can for Canelo Alvarez to keep Canelo Alvarez to be a financially viable and a major financial success for boxing. But he's not fighting or giving the fight fans what they want to see. He's not a media creation, but what he is right now is he is not focused on doing what he did earlier in his career, and that is actually fighting the best people around him and let what happens happen. You know, whatever happens in the ring. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. And you keep on moving on. And if you get a fan base that'll follow you, your fan base will follow you. But what they're doing over at DAZN is that they are just making all kind of crazy rules for him. They're moving him. They're trying to manufacture records that nobody even care about. I mean, you make up records. They make up records for Canelo Alvarez to try to pursue that nobody was thinking about. The first fighter to win simultaneously hold the 160 pound belt, a 168 pound secondary belt, and a WBO 175 pound belt. Okay, you can make an argument that is a great accomplishment, fine and dandy, but what fight fans were actually asking to see that? You know, what fight fans have you ever heard saying, hey, I can't wait to see if Canelo Alvarez can go from 160 to 168 to 175. I can't wait to see that. Nobody. That's something that he pulled. That's something that he and his marketing team pulled out of their backside and decided that they were going to try to do. But at the same time, they're not going to actually try to solidify and unify a weight division and fight the best guys that are around them. They're not giving fight fans what they want to see. And to double down, they're not giving fight fans what they want to see on a network that fight fans ain't interested in having. You have so many different avenues to watch boxing fans, right? To watch boxing matches right now. It seems as if some of these networks are actually just trying to do things to create records that don't matter. That it winds up just totally being a wash all the way around, man. All the way to the point where Dazn, where you got YouTubers outperforming Canelo Alvarez. And it's a bit of a embarrassment. It should be an embarrassment for Canelo Alvarez. It should be an embarrassment for that one fight that Vasily Lomachenko was over there on. Because they're not growing. And if these YouTubers really did want to go out of their way and start talking smack about how popular they are in boxing, they could easily do it. I mean, let's also not forget that there's another guy that was never a boxer that did big numbers in his one professional fight than any of these guys have done, and that's Conor McGregor. I mean, it's not the first time it happened. This is kind of the second, but the first time that it happened, at least you had Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the ring. Man, if Canelo Alvarez really wants to be the face of boxing, he's got to step up off of the zone. You got to step off of the zone. You got to have fights that people actually want to see you fight, and not fights that you think will look good on a piece of paper down the road because you believe that's what you want your fans to see you do. But, that's just my take on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If I was Canelo Alvarez, I would be embarrassed. If I was Lomachenko, I'd be embarrassed. And man, they should just be embarrassed. But hey, man, it is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'm out.